get it twisted. This rap hish is mine, motherfucker.
Archetypal criticism is text shaped by the subconscious. Pop culture and cinema are affected by this, and Carl Jung believes that culturally, society shares one psyche. Meaning cannot purely exist in the world of a single book, and it is preposterous to assume that such feelings about certain things aren't innately in their heads. Archetypal text is meant to make you think about feelings and about certain objects and plot devices because they are based on human feelings that allow you to process them in the right way when you encounter them. Because now of all of cinema and pop culture tends to follow these archetypes because we don't know any better. And that's how that's related to digital narratology.
Philip Wheelwright said, "Every people has its own distinctive mythology that may be reflected in legend, folklore, and ideology. In other words, myths take their own specific shapes from the cultural environments in which they grow. Myths, in the general sense, are universal. Furthermore, similar motifs or themes may be found among many different mythologies, and certain images that reoccur in myths of people widely separated in time and place tend to have a common meaning, or more accurately tend to elicit comparable psychological responses and to serve similar cultural functions. Such motif and images are called archetypes."
Moving on to archetypal and myth criticism. The criticism will be based largely on the works of C.J. John and Joseph Campbell. Some major critics such as Robert Graves and Francis Ferguson view the genres and individual plot patterns of literature as recurrences of archetypes and essential mythic formulae. Some common examples of archetypes include water, sun, moon, colors, circles, the Great Mother, wise old man, and more. Now in terms of archetypal criticism, the color white might represent innocence, what could signify death with supernatural things.
Archetypal literary criticism is a critical theory used to interpret literary works, focusing on myths and archetypes in the narrative, symbols and images, and character types. With roots in anthropology and psychoanalysis, literary theorist Northrop Frye's criticism maintained that literary archetypes were essential in converting the material universe into a verbal universe that is real and that humans can understand. However, Frye's theory of specific genres to categorize and interpret archetypes has given way to blended genres like dramedies. Archetypes include the death-rebirth theme, often represented by the seasons, and also include the forbidden fruit in Genesis, the femme fatale, a female character who provides chaos, and the journey, where the protagonist must face obstacles before achieving his goal.
Joseph Campbell had theorized what the basic formula is for a typical hero's quest. First begins the separation, where he or she is called to adventure. Where he or she refuses the call, they get aid from supernatural forces, and they cross the threshold. Then begins the initiation, where the hero faces the most trials. And then finally, the return is where they get the freedom to live. The hero quester wants to create the definition of the perfect human community. The quest is ultimately a smaller myth inside the general mythology.